Happy to welcome you back to the Manny Diaz Show. Joe Zagacki and Don Bailey Jr. Miami and North Carolina Saturday at 3:30 from Chapel Hill. And Coach, North Carolina, you'll run into another team that's going to be angry. They're coming off a tough loss. And, of course, they've got a heck of a quarterback in Sam Howell. What are your thoughts on what you see from Carolina and where they are right now?
Well, it all starts with Sam Howell. Obviously, a great thrower, great on the deep balls, just can do it all. His feet really jump out, though. He's making a lot of plays. I think he's their second leading rusher right now. Design runs, scrambles, and his ability to extend plays. You might have him back there and he can get out of it. We've had a hard time, as we mentioned in the last segment, of getting quarterbacks on the ground. He is the straw that stirs the drink. He's very special. Obviously, they lost some of the players that they had around him a year ago that were very, very special guys, but Chandler's a very capable running back that transferred from Tennessee, and Downs, number 11, who lines up in their slot, is as dynamic as what they had a year ago. So, a lot of respect, of course, for what they do on offense, and it's all about explosion. They do a great job creating explosive plays. That's been our, really big battle cry, really, over the last week and a half, is to make ourselves harder to be explosive against defensively.
Coach, let's go back to Downs for a minute. Is just an explosive guy, but the quickness that I've been able to watch him on tape and see is really, he's at another level, or is as good as anybody in the country, really, is what we should say.
Yeah, and you'll see him in the kick return game as well. The word to me is acceleration. He's a guy that's a 0 to 60 guy quickly. However fast he is, and he's fast, he gets to that speed very quickly. So can take short ones and just same thing, just kind of hits that pedal to the metal and off he goes. So got to do a great job of getting multiple guys around him, and it's one of those where you got to be relentless, because they'll just throw him a quick screen and bang, he can go all the way.
If we go back to tie the Virginia game, the quarterback, into this one a little bit, I thought in the Virginia game, well, first of all, you held him to about 150 to 200 yards below his average. I thought you tested his patience, right down to the part where we talked about the play that could have been the interception. Is that something you have to do with Sam Howell? Test his patience, because he likes the big play. So is it important to force him, perhaps at times, to throw it into the teeth of the defense?
Yeah, if you can get him to do that. He's an experienced quarterback. But yeah, I think that goes in line with what I was mentioning about explosive plays. Right. You know what I mean? And they just do a great job. He's got such great accuracy down the field. So when you're in coverage, you got to stay on top, and if you're in man, you got to do a great job with your technique. If you're in zone, you got to do a great job with your eyes and your discipline. So, and then you got to affect with pass rush. That's a big key to it as well. And that's what we see with all these quarterbacks. But it's a challenge. And as I mentioned, they're also excellent at the RPO game. So it can be a run and a pass at the same time, so they can try to pull apart your defense in that regard. So big challenge for us.
They have an offensive line that brought, at the beginning of the season, I think came back with 112 starts. Stacey Searles, who was here at Miami with Coach Rick, they did a great job running the football last year. How are they different, or how are they the same as far as attacking the running game?
They're very similar to what they were a year ago, and obviously their game against us a year ago is all we need to see to have our full attention. As I mentioned, the backs last year were elite running backs. There's a reason why both those guys are contributing in the National Football League right now. They still have an outstanding running back, as I mentioned, in Chandler. But what happened a year ago is the run plays went so explosive. I think they had some insane stat that 20% of the runs last year went for 16 yards or more, or something you just don't ever hear about. And that's because when the guys got to the second level, they were so hard to bring down. I think 25 last year led the nation in broken tackles. So those guys are naturally hard to replace, right? But they certainly are still formidable with what they do and the weapons they have now.
I went to their graduation, make sure they're gone. The running backs. The other side of the ball, the Fox brothers have been there for a long time. Gemmel kind of the ringleader in the middle. They do look like they get pretty good pressure off the edge. Your thoughts on what you're going to see and what Tyler Van Dyke's going to face from their defense?
Yeah, very experienced. All 11 guys who started in the Orange Bowl start for them now. Corners that are going to challenge you, and play bump and run out on the outside lanes, either with, in a cover 1 or a cover 4 construct. As you mentioned, they've got some different pressures to try to get after you, to try to get after your running back in protection, kind of blow him up and just make it uncomfortable for the quarterback. and some funky stuff they can do on third down to try to get you. So they're a big challenge. They're very well constructed, very well coordinated and coached. And then, yeah, you've got a quarterback who's making his first start on the road, right? So that is what it is. So what it comes down to, we have to play well around the quarterback. The offensive line's got to do a great job, whether it's in pass protection or getting some runs to go. And then we got to make some contested catches. They're not going to let guys generally run wide open because if they're going to be in a more of a man posture. That's been a big point of emphasis to us this year, right? Can we make more plays down the field? Can we make more contested catches? We've had guys who have shown that they can do that. You know, whether it's Rambo's off to a great start. You got guys like Harley and Restrepo over the middle of the field. You know, you got the young guys. So that's going to be a big part because our guys, everyone's got to help out Tyler.
On the road, especially, special teams are key. Fortunately for Miami, the punting game has been fantastic this year, and we hope that Lou keeps giving us the field position advantage.
Yeah, Headley has been elite. Obviously, that whole unit's been fantastic. They take so much pride. I mean, they know. I mean, the guys covering, everybody knows how special Louis Headley is, and they want to protect for him and they want to cover for him because they know they're part of a great punt unit. The problem is that everybody we play against, it seems like the punters we play against all add 15 yards to their average. I don't know if Louis inspires them.
Trying to keep up with him as well.
Yeah, maybe
I think they're all from Australia.
He's giving him pointers during pregame, which he shouldn't be doing, but because their punter, Virginia's punter, might have won them the game. You know, we don't field the punt, the ball bounces to our 1 yard line, we end up getting a safety out of that, and we lost by 2. So
that's right.
We see how those things, we saw in the App State game in the other direction. I mean, these plays lead to points, and field position is so crucial, and kicking game on the road is always vital.
You mentioned guys playing well around Van Dyke or have to play well. Cameron Harris has gone back-to-back weeks for 100 yards. And so perhaps a little discussion on Cameron, and also what your thoughts were on Knighton getting back. It looked like he was a shoestring or so away from a couple of big runs.
He was. I think the two of them, obviously we miss Cheney and we love the young guys we have, but the two of them, I think they work great together. I think they make each other better. I think Jalen's presence helps elevate Cam's game. Cam obviously got a speed to go all the way, which he did on the stretch play for a long one. But I also thought he made some nice plays in between the tackles, made some great runs on the last drive to get us down there. And then Jalen, as you mentioned, Jalen may have a chance to be explosive on his own. There were 2 or 3 that, he was brought down, by clipping his ankle. So it was great to get him back in there. He's back up to game speed now, and we'll continue to get the best out of both of those guys here the rest of the way.
Coach, give us an update on the young receivers. Everybody likes to hear about how they're progressing, especially after seeing what happened against Central Connecticut.
Yeah, I think all those guys' roles are continuing to develop. You can see what Burchard is the guy. You're going to try to find a way to get him the ball every game in multiple different ways, and now you can, whether you use him as a decoy, because now, hey, he's in the game, get ready for this, and now, everybody chases that guy that way. We actually had a wheel late in the game. We kind of faked one to Burchard, and we had Knighton wide open for a wheel that we missed there. So that's kind of how that all sets up, and then the other guys are all keep getting better. But what I love is, for example, like a guy like Brinson had the big drop on third down, but that's okay. That's all part of development. It stinks in a crucial game where everything matters, but not everything's going to be perfect. You got to show, part of the freshmen is they're talented. They got to show they can respond and be resilient. And I think that's what I'm most proud of Romello, is that those guys, they don't blink from that. It doesn't affect their confidence, and they're ready to make the play next time their number's called.
Do you think by getting Burchard Smith on the field in different spots, along with a Harley and a Knighton, we see them at the same time, has your speed improved on offense?
Yeah, I think overall it has. I think speed and playmaking. I think that's the whole key. And because what you're looking for is, with a guy like Burchard, for example, is who can put a foot in the ground and make people miss. Right. And those are the plays that, you're going to call a play and the expectation to get this many yards, but now, you mentioned, we talked about North Carolina's running backs a year ago. Okay, it may be blocked for this, but now I can make that first guy miss and then add that on my own. We call those cane yards. What can you get past what sort of the play is on the chalkboard, and that is our X versus their O, and the more of those one-on-one matchups you can win, the better offense you're going to have.
Coach, we heard you talk about it after the ball game and then earlier this week as well about complementary football, where the offense helps the defense helps the offense. Give us some examples of how that can be done.
The Virginia game was a perfect example of that. Defense goes punt, touchdown allowed, punt, 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 punt. So 5 out of 6 first drives against Virginia, who's an outstanding offense, were punts. And we're not happy about the touchdown drive, but 5 out of 6 were wins. And you're losing after that point, and so what you're doing is you're not possessing the ball in offense, you're getting 3 and outs, and your defense is racking up a ton of snaps, right? So by the time the 7th drive comes up, I think we're at 40 some odd snaps on defense. 40 for a half is big. We're talking about 40 snaps and there's still 4 minutes left in the first half. They go down and score. They're disappointing, but what happens sometimes is when you add those snaps, we know because we're trying to do that to the other team. When you add those snaps to a defense, it may not even be the physical exhaustion, but sometimes a mental exhaustion. That's where the guys aren't quite as dialed in. Things that were not open earlier become open because you don't just get slower by foot, you get slower by thought. So that's where an offense that we want to go fast. We want to be a tempo offense, but if you're going to go fast, you got to get first downs and you got to get points, because if not, you're going to expose your defense to a ton of snaps, right? Especially against a good offense like Virginia. But then the flip side of that is that in the past game when our offense did score, it felt like every time they did, Virginia went down the field and answered. And we had a couple. And to me, one of the defining moments in the game was after the flag interception. Great complementary offense. We go and score. We get them in a 3rd down and long immediately. Crowd comes into it, and we get the quarterback. Chance Williams does a great job, pressures the quarterback. We have the quarterback 2-on-1 to get sacked in the backfield, and the place is going to erupt. They're going to have to punt. All of the momentum is wearing orange and green right now. And we don't get the quarterback on the ground. The guy scrambles for a first down. That's the drive that ends up being the ball through our hands that they intercept. And that to me is understanding that, look, the defense wants to stop them all the time. But when an offense scores and you got a chance to really seize the momentum, you have to understand those are, not all drives are created equal. And so to me, that's where, hey, we get a 3 and out right here after our offense scores, get some confidence. Now all of a sudden that's how you can get that pinwheel effect. And that's the part that I thought really hurt us in the Virginia game. That's what, going on the road, where you got to create your own momentum against the crowd. I think that'll be really important Saturday.
Okay, very best of luck against North Carolina. That's University of Miami head coach Manny Diaz, and we will continue on the show right after this.
The school bus.
The Zach wagon.
Wally.
No matter what you call your car or why you're letting it go, AutoNation will buy it, and you don't have to buy one from us. We're paying top dollar right now. So go to AutoNation.com or come see us for a super easy appraisal. Get paid on the spot, and you can deposit it the same day. Visit any AutoNation store or AutoNation.com. What drives you, drives us.
If you train like a pro, then you should be treated like a pro. Much like the human body, our team of sports medicine experts moves as one to achieve a singular goal. Recover your game.